In part 1, I've clearly stated that there's definitely a reason to check out Kevin Sullivan. It does not mean he did it. He may be innocent. But we need to rule this out. Too many people are writing about this as a hypothesis. What is the point of Benoit being blamed and then 10, 20 years later we find that Kevin Sullivan did it? Meanwhile, Benoit's reputation is destroyed. What is the point? Let's clear the name of Kevin Sullivan if he didn't do it. Let's find out and get to the bottom of it and rule him out. And also anybody else who people think may have done it. Make sure we rule everybody out. Now, whether Kevin Sullivan was a member of a satanic cult or not, whether Kevin Sullivan did it, is only important if he did it. He may not have done it at all. Many people have argued Sullivan couldn't really do it because he was in Florida, or he was running a gym in Florida. Quite possible. The police should check out, make sure, firstly, was he in Florida during those hours? Secondly, did he not appoint somebody else? Are we sure he didn't appoint somebody else or pay some murderers to go and do it? Or maybe Sullivan's friends. Just check it out, make sure it didn't happen in that way, and then clear the name of Kevin Sullivan in this matter. If he did it, arrest him and charge him. If he didn't do it, then release him from all of the taint and all of the criticism and all of the arguments on the internet and worldwide, in the media and even in the media, which suggest maybe he did do it. Well, certainly maybe he didn't do it. Now Johnny, this wrestler who's argued he did, and who considers the fact that he feels he did, given the fact that Sullivan did threaten to do it, points out that Sullivan could have had a gun, could have threatened the family, bound them up, and then killed each one by one, as a way of getting back at Benoit, as a way of ruining Benoit's reputation. He argues that Sullivan could have been jealous, and possibly was jealous of Benoit, because of his success in winning so many titles. And it could be possible that when Sullivan saw Benoit about to win a potential ECW title, and yet another title to add to his collection, and being heralded as such a great wrestler and such a great technical wrestler by so many fellow wrestlers, when he saw Benoit having run off with his wife many years ago and now with a child, and hugging that child in the success of WrestleMania 20, and being so close to the family, and basically successful in every way in the wrestling community and so well respected, maybe that did get to Sullivan, and maybe that prompted Sullivan to take action. Whether it did or not, again, we should clarify and rule it out. If it didn't, let's clear Sullivan's name. Johnny then goes on to argue that Sullivan, he argues, is a Satanist. Whether he is, let's check it out. He argues that Satanists hate the Bible, and the police have stated that a Bible was found next to the bodies of Benoit's wife and son, but obviously not next to Benoit. He points out that this could indeed be the work of someone equivalent to Sullivan, who would try to deflect the blame away from himself, because obviously Satanists don't believe in the Bible, and towards Benoit, who did believe in the Bible. He argues very clearly on the internet that Sullivan could have acted in a very premeditated way in everything he did by making it look like Benoit did it. That is possible. Don't forget, the police have found that the child and the wife died through suffocation, through smothering, and that these smothering moves were enacted by what the police feel could have been the triple crossface. Whether Benoit did it or not, we don't know. Many wrestlers know that move. I'm sure many wrestlers do, and many of the wrestlers could have acted it out. In fact, the police have pointed out that this triple crossface on the son was not executed in the normal way, and they pointed out that this was probably because it was a child being smothered, and it would have to be acted out in a different way. This is certainly possible. It's also possible that the wrestler who did it didn't know how to do it in the exact way that Benoit did it. This is possible, and it could be an explanation as to why it was carried out in that different way. Whatever it is, we need to check out, make sure Sullivan's name's cleared if he didn't do it. It's not fair to Sullivan to blame him. It's not fair because this guy may not have done it. I don't criticise Johnny for putting this up on the internet. In fact, I think he's doing it with the right motive. He's not trying to get at Sullivan. Johnny is simply trying to say, let's see whether he did. If he did, let's blame him. If he didn't, let's clear him. I agree with Johnny. I agree with Sullivan when he argues that he was very surprised when he heard about it. Maybe he really was surprised. Maybe he was nothing to do with it. If so, it's not fair to blame Sullivan and to go on with lots of rumours. The police should investigate and clearly rule Sullivan out if he didn't do it. He points out also, Johnny does point out in his very long explanation on the internet, that another thing to note is the fact that Sullivan was also associated with Sherry Martel, who died just a few days before the bodies of Chris Benoit and his family were found. And the full details of Martel's death, he points out, have not yet been made known, as at the time of writing, and they still haven't been fully made known. Now, the suspicious circumstances that Sherry Martel was found in are still, I believe, being investigated. It doesn't mean, of course it doesn't mean, that Sullivan did it, but we need to rule it out. We need to clear Sullivan's name. He points out, in conclusion, he wonders why the police have not even considered investigating the possibility that Sullivan killed Benoit, Nancy and their child. And it's worth looking into. He's fully correct in that. And he also says that Benoit was going to be crowned ECW champion on the Sunday night. Why would he murder his family and kill himself when he's about to be on top and win a crown that he'd not won before, and obviously that he valued? And I agree with him. If you look at the picture of Benoit, if you look at the video, I'm sure it's still available, even though the WWE have tried to take off all the videos and all the images of Benoit, which I think is quite scandalous. If you can find an image, a video of him in the last match with CM Punk, where he was about to fight CM Punk, and in the last match where Benoit qualified to fight Punk for the ECW belt, you'll see Benoit go up to the belt and touch it with a lot of emotion. I do not believe this is purely scripted. This is genuine emotion. He wanted that belt. He lived for wrestling. He lived for his family. And I do not believe he was willing to sacrifice his family and wrestling in 2 or 3 days of madness. We need to clear Benoit's name. And if necessary, we need to clear Sullivan's name. We cannot just assume it was a double murder-suicide without going to the bottom of it. What do we need to do? Well, the police need to investigate the beer and the wine, check the DNA, check the possibility that even though there wasn't a forced entry into the building, that his friends didn't come in and commit this crime. Because they could get in surely without having to force entry. Check that the SMSs which were sent were not sent as cries for help. Make sure they weren't, because if they were, it suggests that Benoit was in trouble and needed help and didn't do this. We need to know and find out why this crime took so many days in between the first death, the second death and Benoit's death. Why so long? Why so protracted? We need to check out why Benoit would have done this if he did do it. We can't just blame drugs. If we know that right rage lasts just a short while, and we can't just blame drugs if there were insufficient quantities in Benoit's blood to motivate this, and even if there are drugs are found in his blood, when the toxicology reports come out, surely that doesn't prove that Benoit did it. That just proves that drugs are in his body. We need to get to the bottom of this. We don't want this to be a kind of case where we blame someone unfairly, such as Benoit, ruin his reputation, and then 10 to 20 years later we find the truth. Because this can happen. This has happened. People have been imprisoned and then 30 years later have been released. In Benoit's case, it's even worse. He's been killed, or possibly been killed. And people are running around blaming him for having done all of the murders, killing himself and for killing the 2 close members of his family. This is not fair, because the evidence does not yet add up. The police have been very meticulous, and I believe the police are really doing a very good job. They genuinely want to find out how it happened. And I believe the police are sincere on this, and I hope that the police continue to investigate this, and it is essential now that Kevin Sullivan is ruled out, because the internet is now so rampant with speculation that he did do it. I feel we must clear Sullivan's name if he didn't.